Hey, let's catch you up with some Spurs news and notes you may have missed, and then play a game, buy or sell on the Spurs win total projection for next season.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen. I am Jeff Garcia, your host, Ken's 5 Spurs writer. And we thank you, for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, obviously, so much more. You make the wise choice coming to Locked On Spurs every single day for all things silver and black. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You want to go to Game Time right now. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So what are we talking about today? If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it on your screen, but if you're not, we're going to be looking at some recent Spurs news and notes just to catch you up what's going on in the offseason, and then play a game of buy or sell with my colleague at Ken's 5. He is Casey Viera, and we're going to be looking at what Vegas has to say about the Spurs win total projection. Do we buy that? Do we sell that? I think the Spurs will go over, under. What are some mitigating factors? And then I talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fan comments. Guys are leaving a lot of them. Keep on doing that. Go subscribe to Locked On Spurs right now on all the Locked On podcast networks, from MLB, NBA, NFL. Pick a sport team. Locked On Network has you covered. All right, let's go and dive into some Spurs news and notes you may have missed. The Spurs have officially made it official that the team has re-signed Charles Bassey. They released that news yesterday. And so it's officially official. So Bassey is re-signed by San Antonio. Last season, he was out for most of it with a knee injury. But in 2 seasons with the Spurs, he averaged 4.9 points per game, 5 rebounds, 1.3 assists over 54 total games played. Again, he was out last year. He originally signed a 2-way deal with the contract with Spurs, that is, in 2022. Then they converted into a standard NBA deal in 2023. Then he was waived earlier this month, and then he was re-signed. A lot of financial navigating there. But Bassey is back. More than likely, then the Spurs will announce that Mamu is officially back as well. He even made it official. He posted it on his social media. His agency posted it on social media. It's just all a matter of time when the Spurs will announce that he is back for good. In other Spurs news, hey, the Summer Spurs, they are still undefeated in the Las Vegas Summer League. They are now 3-0. City Sissoko had 11.6 rebounds. Rookie Harrison Ingram, he chipped in with 12 points. Jamari Bouye, 14 points. Riley Minix led the Summer Spurs with 16 points off the bench. Donovan Williams had 15 points. At this rate, I think they're probably going to make that Las Vegas Summer League play-in tournament, or whatever that thing they got going over there. So hopefully the Summer Spurs will bring back a championship team to San Antonio. And they'll next face the 76ers in the Summer League play. I believe it is on here for you on Friday, July 9th. In other Spurs news, it didn't take long. Didn't take long at all. There's a new Chris Paul mural in San Antonio. Just like that, Chris Paul has a mural in San Antonio. For those of y'all who wonder where it's at 802 San Pedro. That's in San Antonio. Very colorful. It has him splashed in the background with the Spurs Fiesta colors. He's in a black Spurs uniform. And true to form, he does not have a jersey number at all. Yeah, we still don't know what jersey number he's going to get. Is Keldon going to give up that number 3 to Paul? Wow. I mean, think about that. Even the artist, it was made by a San Antonio artist, Colton Valentine. Yeah, he was smart enough to leave the number off. I thought that was a nice touch. But Chris Paul has a mural. Who doesn't have a mural? I'm surprised you don't have a mural, saying a Locked On Spurs fan somewhere in San Antonio. There's Wemby has one, Devin Vassell has one, Duncan has one, Popovich has one, the Coyote has one. Who else has? Blake Wesley has one. Sohan has. I mean, pretty much everybody who's ever worn the Spurs jersey likely has one right now. Although Mamu does not have one. I wonder if he's upset about that. I should ask him that next time I talk to him. But there you have it some quick Spurs news and notes. All right, when we get back, we're going to be joined by Casey Viera, my colleague at Ken's 5 San Antonio. Heads up, it's an audio portion. So I know Casey, with fatherhood and everything, he really can't do videos much. So it'll be an audio portion for the remainder of the show. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, but first I want to talk to you about Game Time. Go to gametime.co right now. Look, Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. They got killer last minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Look, aside from the low price guarantee, they got event cancellation protection, job loss protection, flash deals, zone deals. Seriously, they even got to customize your spot on the app. They got it all there. Go get that app right now. Those last minute deals, heads up on that. You can save up to 60% on buying last minute tickets for sports, comedy, concerts, theater, whatever you need a ticket for. Game Time is there. The all-in pricing is a toggle feature that allows you to see the total up front. No surprise fees at checkout. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And zone deals, you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time pick the seats for you. What more do you need? Go to gametime.co right now. Download it on your mobile device, your cell phone, your tablet, or whatever you got to do. Just make sure you get that account at Game Time. You want to create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA. That'll get you $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Hey, San Antonio, I want to talk to you about Mudslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, located in the 281 and 1604 area. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member of San Antonio, making sure that San Antonio has the best drinks in town. You need a signature drink like their Mudslinger drink, go get it. You need a latte, you need a cold brew, you need dairy alternative drinks, you need supercharged drinks, you need teas, whatever you need, they have it there. That menu is so good. They even have mini donuts, which are very popular. And here they sell out pretty fast. You want to follow them on social media at Mudslinger SATX, always bringing you the latest drinks. Something new every week, I swear. I don't know how they do it, but they create new drinks. It is delicious. Hey, heads up, they also have the Lightning Bolt series. That's basically supercharged drinks to help you get through your day, power you through your day, or get you jump started. Even includes the Alien, which is a drink made in honor of Victor Wembanyama. They're going to use Lotus Energy. That's 7 power plant extracts. That allows them flexibility to create new drinks. That will be the default. But if you want Red Bull, what originally was part of the recipe, they'll have that for you. Just got to tell them. But again, heads up, Lotus Power 7 power plant extracts has the same effect as Red Bull. But look, what more do you need? Go check it out right now. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive here in San Antonio. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tell them I sent you. Go to Mudslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee right now because life is too short for bland coffee.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
And look who is back, everybody. My colleague at Ken's 5, Mr. Casey Viera. Follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Casey, how you been, buddy?
Lovely. Enjoying what's left of this summer. Minimal,
Yep.
But beautiful. I'll take it.
Yeah. How's the little one doing, by the way?
Oh, never a dull moment. Coming up on 8 months
bet.
already. Pretty crazy, right?
Time is flying, man. Time is
I know.
flying by. But I'm glad you're doing okay. You're back from your trip to NYC. More on that later. You're on one piece. Everybody's good to go. The Spurs, well, Vegas thinks they might be a little better than last season. Let's go ahead and get into it. So why is Casey here? Vegas has released its win total projections for your San Antonio Spurs next season. And drum roll, please. The Spurs are not going to be below at 20 anymore. So, yay. So, step in the right direction. They have the Spurs winning, 34.5 games. 34.5, 35, around that range. Wow. That is a jump, but it still says it's still going to be a lean season nevertheless, Casey.
Yeah, but I actually think that that's a reasonable number to put on it.
Yeah.
because I think right now, and I don't have the numbers in front of me of how close
Mm.
the 11th seed in the West was. Uh, I think what they are going to be is going to be a team that's competitive and compete for that last play-in spot, or theoretically last two play-in spots. Right now, I don't think they get it if the season
Yeah.
starts today, but I think this is a team that's going to be competitive for it all year long. So 34 wins probably would be an indicator of that. And honestly, given that last season was a 22-win total, that'd be a plus 12 improvement, and obviously something a lot of Spurs fans would be happy about, I would think, at least.
It's still a down season. If Vegas is right, they're not going to miss. They're not going to make the playoffs again. Before already another season in a row of that. 22 win season to about a 34, 35. At least that's what DraftKings is predicting. Sounds on target. If you want growth and development, you're getting it. It just reflected in the wins. Look, who are we to argue with Vegas? Everybody scoffed at Vegas. You, me, Vinny, the rest of the crew were in that Ken's Fight studio last year, and we all laughed at Vegas. 22.5? What are you, out of your mind? Lo and behold, Vegas got it on the dot. 22-win season for the Spurs. I think, did we learn a lesson, Casey? Don't argue with Vegas, because I'm assuming they have a time. They have a time machine in their backyard, right? They have to.
They always find a way.
They always find a way.
The house always wins.
The house always wins. So 34.5, about 34, 35 wins. It's about right. But I do disagree with you. I don't think. Well, no, I don't. I think you said they're not going to make the play-in, but I don't think they will be even sniffing the play-in, because last season it took 44 to 45 wins to get into the play-in. That's a 12-game difference right there.
Where did the whoever finished, was it who ended up with that? Houston, right?
Yeah, they had 42, 41 around there.
Oh, it was really competitive at that back end. So Houston was 2 games under 500 and just missed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me get that number right. But Houston was knocking on the door. They were there. They were like, they finished 41-41 last year. They're dead even. So it takes 40, at least if we're going to use last year's as a base, it took about 40 plus wins to just knock on the play-in door. Not get in, just knock on the door. And that's what Houston went. So if that's the case, if Vegas is right, and they always seem to be right, the Spurs are still a ways away from even the play-in. Do you think that is something that could change as the season moves on? Because look, Wemby's going to be a lot better. Technically, this is not a young team anymore, Casey, and I'm going to be a little upset if next season you and I are in that conference room after games and we hear we're just a young team, we're learning. You can't say that anymore. Vassell's not a kid. Trey Jones is entering his how many seasons already? Keldon, Zach, Jeremy. You can't. I don't think they can use that as a crutch anymore, Casey.
Well, get ready to hear it, because we're going to be hearing it.
Oh, you think they're going to go there?
Yeah, I do.
How though? How? We're going to talk about this in a future episode of Locked On Spurs, but without giving away too much, it's practically the same freaking team.
Yeah, but it's the same. If it's the same team, wouldn't you expect, and by their logic, same result, wouldn't you expect, if they are going to play that incremental improvement route, plus 12, they could turn around and say, "Oh, guys, this is what we're aiming for. We told you we want to slowly improve day by day."
Yeah. It's just me. I just don't. I don't think they can use that as a crutch anymore. That we're young. You're not young, Devin. You're entering what, year 4, year 5? Not young anymore, Keldon. You're already at 6, 7 already. Trey, you're entering your 4th, 5th year. I mean, you see where I'm going at? How can they use that moving forward? Now, I would understand if they were to say something like, "We're getting adjusted to this new roster," but not really. You only really added 3 new pieces. Castle, CP3, and Barnes. That's it. And CP3 ain't gonna rock the boat, and he'll fit in seamlessly. Same with Barnes. Castle, sure, maybe he might be a little work in progress, as the season moves on, but they're aged. They have experience. They added more experience with 2 players. Wemby's going to be Wemby, and even better. Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised. I'll be more surprised if they fall below 34.5. And I would hope, and I expect them to maybe get a little over on 34.5. What do you think?
Your bar is pretty high.
Wow, Casey. Okay. Explain. What do you mean? So you're telling me that you would be surprised if they fall below 34 games?
No.
Okay, you're not going to be surprised.
No,
okay.
Because I don't think the moves that they made with a team that largely they're bringing back from last year makes them anything more than a play-in team. And by that logic, you're looking like at a team that's going 18 wins better from last year with largely the same team. Like, so you're seeing that this is a team with all the moves, they're going to be 18 wins better.
Oh, I could for 18 as far as getting to the play-in, right?
And going from 22 to 40 wins.
Oh, good. Oh, no. I don't see that. I don't see it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get 38, I wouldn't, or 37, around that, at like a high 30 number, not at the 34 right in the middle. I look at the Spurs team and I just see, a team that can use how they finished last season as, was going to push them into this new season that's upcoming in a few months. I can see them revigorated, I guess, with Barnes and CP3 as far as not their youth, but as far as them knowing that, hey, I got these guys with me. And how many times did we see last year where if it was tight games, they fell apart?
Right.
You saw that constantly. You got that. I think some of those wins could be pushed. Some of those losses in that style of coming down the wire be pushed to the W column versus the L column.
So you're saying this essentially from the lens is that you're looking at this team, the same team as last year. We know they underachieved, but you viewed them last year as like a team that would win low 30s amount of games, theoretically 34, right?
I think the way they ended the season, showed us a lot. Now, there's two sides to that argument. There's, look how they ended the season, but they were playing against, Detroit, to close out the season.
Right.
Denver just fell asleep. Denver just took them for granted. But on the flip, though, they won without Keldon, without Devin, without Sohan. They threw in Mamu out there, Barlow out there, and they were beating teams. So,
yeah, but the thing is, the sample size here though is much larger for when they were bad. And
they were at 11 game. It was about 11 game sample size when they pretty much threw in the towel.
Well, yeah. I mean, there you go. There you go. I think if your thought process is that this team underachieved to the point that they were closer to the low 30 win mark last year, then I think that's a reasonable thought process to think that they could push 40 games. I just don't think this team is. I even when they were playing at their best, I don't know if this team was good enough to win 35 games, whatever it was, whatever number you want to put at low 30s. I do think that I think that they were probably closer to. I don't think there were 28 wins bad. I definitely don't think there were 22 wins bad, I should say. I definitely don't think they were that. Maybe 28, 29, somewhere around there. I think is probably more what I would have ballparked towards. Like I think I'm assuming when we had this conversation this time last year, I didn't think I saw the 22.5 as well. I'm like, that's not happening, because I thought it was going to be 28, 29, maybe even 30. And so even if they come back and this year with my thought process, like, okay, they win 30, then that's still an improvement. And I think that's still something that they'll hang their hat on, the idea of development. It's just not going to change overnight. And this isn't going to be with the moves that they made, unless and we know Victor is outstanding for what he does here. But unless Victor takes the step that single-handedly he's winning games for this team every single night. And hey, you know what? It's not out of the realm.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah,
I
mean, not out of the realm, given that what we saw last year and everything we saw last year was with him was essentially unforeseen and even beyond the high expectations, just doing things night in, night out. We were all, and I say this in the best sense of the term, we were all scratching our heads about, because it was just so ridiculous. So, I mean, theoretically, I guess, yeah, that is possible. I just not willing to go as far as you are, I guess, with that rationale.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to make a play-in or they're going to get 1 through 6 playoff spot. I just think, maybe you should be learning a lesson here and knowing that Vegas knows all, but 34, 35 game win. They got them right in the middle, 34.5 win total. I would be disappointed if they go below that, but I think they have it what it takes to go above that. So, maybe 2 or 3 games higher than that. And look, in this rebuild, you take all these little wins along the way out of it. And if they bust up the win total on the positive side, then yay, Spurs, you're doing a good job. Look, as of right now, this recording, it looks like they might be done with their roster heading into training camp. It feels like it's the same crew back. And I think that's what gives me a little hope that maybe they could go above 34.5 wins. Again,
right,
because the way they ended the season, because they were on a high note, because when their exit interviews in that final conference with us, it was more positive, from Trey Jones telling me, like, hey, Jeff, we gave the fans a glimpse of what could have been. Mamu, the way he turned things on, Popovich in good spirits. So I'm hoping that'll parlay into next season. You throw in Castle in there, what they needed, that's a plus. There are little concerns that I have. Sure, I'm a little worried about Wemby. Will his gas tank run out, during the season? Because he played a full season in France before going to the NBA draft. Then he goes to the NBA draft. Then he has a whirlwind at the Vegas Summer League. Then from there, he goes to the Spurs training camp, preseason, regular season. Then he goes off to France right now for the Olympics. That could change things too, Case. I didn't think about that. I'm talking it out. Wemby, we could probably see Wemby maybe hit a wall during the regular season.
He wouldn't be the first.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of mileage already.
Wouldn't be the first all-star to played the Olympics the previous season, maybe dip deep into the postseason prior to that, and came back the following year, and those legs were looking a little rough. He would not be the first to do that, no.
Yeah, Manu went through that plenty of times. Tony Parker did that too, but so I guess what I'm hearing is you're buying then. You're buying about a 34.5, 34, 35 win season?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we're too far off from the way your logic, the way you talk about this. I think I would probably that 34.5 is tough, because that's like right, give or take 33 to 35 is right that ballpark. I think where they're going to be. I would probably go. We'll go over. We'll take the benefit of the doubt with that 35.
Yeah, okay, we'll go. Okay, we'll give him a 35, but you say over, but not by much. Maybe like 38. Maybe you think about 38, 37.
Sure. Why not?
Sure. You're feeling.
Sure.
You're feeling.
I mean,
feeling
what's
good.
the difference? Yeah, if I'm saying 35, what's the difference between 3 more games? It's not 35 and 50 here. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I could see it. I legitimately could. I'm not just saying that. I legitimately could.
But I'm also hearing from, well, at least what I'm thinking I'm hearing from you is that you more than likely think they could be in that Houston position, knocking on that play-in door?
I think there's a better chance they're in that play-in door than they are a 22-win team.
All right. Well, he is Casey Viera. Make sure to follow him on next side, Casey_Viera. Let him know what you think about his take on the Spurs win total projection, 34.5. Casey's buying. I'm buying kind of, sort of, but let us know what you think. You let me know what you think about my take as well over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. When we get back, we're going to talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans. You guys are leaving a lot of comments. We're going to pick two and react to them. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back on Locked On Spurs with Casey Viera, my colleague at Ken's 5. He holds it on the TV side of things for all things sports. Make sure to follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Hey, Casey, so I know you were in New York City recently. By the way, I'm jealous. I miss my adopted home. But I heard a rumor that apparently you were so hungry that you took breadcrumbs and rice from pigeons. You were that hungry? Is that
I was
true?
not. That is not true. But I do. There are pigeons, and we do have a history, pigeons and I, dating back to my first few years of existence. Would you like to hear the story?
Let's hear you and pigeons and this mystery of what's going on with you and this animal, this bird.
Okay, so I'll keep it relatively brief. So the first 3 years of my life, I lived in Manhattan, and one of the few things I really aspired for at age 2, age 3, was to go into Central Park and catch a pigeon. Obviously, at 2 to 3 years old, a little bit easier said than done. And thankfully, for my own well-being of being a baby, that was probably best that I did not catch one. But that was a central focus of mine for about 2 years when I didn't know any better. So when we went to New York last week, lovely time, taking baby Carter there for the first time. We were in Central Park, and I got this great picture from behind. You can see it on my Instagram at Casey_Viera of Carter staring down these pigeons. And it very much gives the vibe of I need to finish the deal of what my father never could. For my sake and for his sake, I hope that does not happen as an adult and not a 7-month-old.
Yeah.
But that is the backstory about that.
You and pigeons.
Yep.
You know, when I lived in Manhattan for a year, and let me tell you my pigeon story. So me and my roommate called it a night, went to bed, blah blah blah. Okay, fine. So I took so in my old Manhattan apartment, I lived in the first room, and my former roommate, who was the Locked On Celtics host, he took the back.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Locked On Celtics and I, we go way back. John Corrales and I. So he took the back bedroom. Well, one morning, we're waking up and everything, and he's still asleep. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to bother him, let him sleep. So I'm getting ready to go out in the day, and he wakes up, and he tells me a story that during the middle of the night, he thought I was making a big commotion in the room, in the apartment. And he opened his door ready to tell me, hey, what's wrong? Are you okay? You chill out. Come to find out, a pigeon got into our apartment and was going psychotic in the entire apartment complex, causing damage, feathers everywhere. We left the window open and it got in.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
that you think you would hear more stories about that? I've never heard a story like that before.
Yeah.
Wow.
He told me, he goes, I was ready to just chew you out for waking me up in the middle of the night. He goes, but we left the window open. And yes, everybody, our apartment was in the backside of the complex, nowhere near the front side. So leaving your window a little open was a little safe in New York City. But we should have known better. We knew critters were going to get in. We should have known better. But stop
Yeah,
taking breadcrumbs and rice from pigeons, Casey. Stop doing that.
man, that was before. What do you remember? What floor you were on?
First floor.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, first floor. Yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, man, wherever you were living, they didn't have screens in the windows, thinking that you were further up.
We took it off because remember you do get the mandatory bars. You know, you have to have those bars on there no matter what, if you have kids or not. We just took it off and we took off the screen. We wanted some fresh air to come in. We just left it open and enter a pigeon. You know, we could at least ask the pigeon to pay rent. You know, that would have been nice. Hey, we gave you a one night stay. You know, chip in.
Yeah, right.
Chip in, pigeon.
Oh, that's a good story. I got a lot out of that.
All right. Enough about pigeons, everybody. Let's find out what you guys are talking about over the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. We're going to pick 2 comments and react to them. First one is from Indie Kid 150. Casey, he says, yes, Mamu's chemistry really started shining with Wemby toward the end of the last season. Hope Pop uses him more. So he's reacting to the news that Mamu is back. What do you think about that? Do you think he's going to get more run next season? He did say, Mamu, that is, over the offseason that if he did re-sign with the Spurs, which he now did, that he's hoping to get more burn. Do you see that coming?
Do I see it coming? It's tough to say. It's tough to say. I would say no, but the only thing this guy has done since he has been with the Spurs is do everything he is asked to be done. He has played in sporadic pinches at times. He has played regular minutes at times. And he's done everything that the organization has asked for him to do. And he fits in very well with this mold of the NBA, of current NBA. He can stretch the floor a little bit. He's improving his defense. Still not a huge positive, but if you can give him on the minutes on the floor out there to space a little bit with Victor and have another big guy to play off Victor and to basically compensate for his defensive inefficiencies, which is, of course, what Victor would do, then yeah, I think you would see it. So collectively, do I think he gets more minutes? Probably. Does the role change? Probably not. I just think the Spurs have always shown that, Pop has always shown that he's never married to a rotation for an extended period of time. And I think that'll be the case. Pop tends to ride the hot hands quite a lot, even if he has to go up to a 10-man rotation, expand outside the box a little bit. And I think you'll see windows of that, of what he does. But he has fit his role perfectly ever since they took a flyer on him 2 years ago. And I expect more of the same. I think
if anything, you probably see, if you want to be technical about it, maybe a slight increase in minutes, maybe extra 2 here. But considering, where the Spurs are right now, they're going to be really trying to invest in players that are there for the long term. So they'll give those minutes.
Well, another thing to keep in mind here too, we don't know what's going on with Zach Collins' shoulder situation.
Yeah.
So if that stays a lingering thing, and whether it be to, a matter of him, Collins, that is, trying to get his abilities, for lack of a better term, back, get his talents back, figure out what's going on there, that could mean more minutes. It will mean more minutes for Mamu out there, without a doubt. So that window of opportunity is there as well.
Well, he did make it hard for the Spurs to think about letting him go. Obviously they didn't, because the way he closed out the season, he was averaging close to like 11 points per game, nearly 6 rebounds a game. He got Wemby's stamp of approval to close out the season. So, yeah, he played really, really well. But we're going to see how they utilize him. They got insurance now. They got Mamu back. They got Bassie back. So if something happens to Collins or Wemby, knock on wood, and especially for Wemby, they do have decent bigs to back them up. All right, thank you for that comment there. Up next is from Josh Gonzalez, 8698. He says, I can see Castle starting the season backing up Devin 2 to get some playing time, maybe even some time at the small forward. Now, that's something that, thank you, by the way, Josh Gonzalez, for that comment. That's something that Castle has said, leading up to the draft, and now he's a Spur. He's saying, yeah, he can do a little bit of this, can do a little bit of that, but to extend him to the small forward spot, I don't know. What do you think about the versatile Castle that Josh Gonzalez hopes that he'll be?
I don't. Well, I think it depends on what's going on around them and what the construction of the roster is going on around them. I think he can do it in pinches, but the good thing with him that opens the opportunity for him to do that is that length that he has to guard bigger wings on the perimeter with that wingspan. And when you can do that, and it's not like he's a little guy. I mean, how many times how many times have you seen some of these guys? I mean, Josh Hart over there for the Knicks is 6'4" and was playing however many minutes this year.
Yeah.
I mean, part by necessity and part is because he's a psychopath. But how many minutes did he play at the power forward? So I could definitely see it, especially given that there will be times, that Devin will likely miss some times. That you'll see Keldon Johnson. He will at times miss some time. Those opportunities will be there at some point in the season, or if they want to mix it up and try something new, then they do it.
Yeah. You got nothing to lose, all to gain if he shows his ability to be versatile to that extent, to play the 1, the 2, and possibly the 3. We'll see, but I like Castle. It's hard for me to really give a hefty thumbs up to him in summer league because he balled out. Yes, 22 points, but against Team China.
Right.
Then you go, he didn't really play all the California Classic games, and then he gets shut down. And good call, Spurs. I agree with it after he took a nasty fall against the Blazers. But yeah, I need to see more of a sample size out of him to see just how far along is he.
Down the road.
Yeah, Popovich said right away to ESPN that he thinks he's Castle's going to get some playing time, and he with emphasis on playing time. So we'll see.
I think if you don't see it this year, I think you'll definitely see it in time. Once he muscles up, once he starts pounding a few.
So basically, when he starts getting swole like you, Casey, then we can.
Definitely not. Far from it.
No? Okay.
Far from it. Yeah,
all right.
I think once he muscles up a little bit, I think next year, 2 years, you're going to see that a lot.
Well, I hope so too. Yeah, the Spurs can use all hands on deck in this rebuild to get out of it ASAP, because it looks like teams are just getting better. And we got Houston, right there. You got OKC is OKC now. Dallas got stronger with Klay Thompson. The Warriors, if they somehow swing for Lauri Markkanen, they're going to be a problem again. So hopefully the Spurs will make the right moves or the right development moves, i.e. Castle, in this rebuild. He is Casey Viera. Follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Chat with him. Ask him what are the strategic moves to take bread and rice from pigeons in New York City. Casey, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Developing strategic plans to take bread and rice from New York City.
By the way, everybody, we're not exaggerating when we say this. People do literally, what you see in the movies, like that old lady giving bread and rice to pigeons. That's actually true. It's 100% true.
You ever read up on Mike Tyson and the pigeons?
Yep, out in Brooklyn, he did the same thing.
Yep,
same thing. Yep, that is true. That is a very true stereotype of New York City. When I was living in Queens, I can walk up the sidewalk and I would just see literally open bread loaves of the bag just there, thrown on the floor. And then the birds are just eating. That's a New York thing to do. I never did it in the nearly 2 decades I was living in New York City. I never did the bread thing and the bird thing, but I was like, they got jobs. They can get their own bread.
Who says that they don't have naturalists and herbalists in New York City, and
There
it's
you
just
go.
concrete any and everywhere. We don't have our own wildlife.
Yeah.
No one says
Oh, there's
that.
wildlife there, San Antonio, who's never been to New York City. There's wildlife. There's skunks. Yeah, there's skunks in New York City. There's mutated rats, and I'm not kidding. I've seen rats the size of cats in New York City. Had one walk across my path in Queens, hit my shoe, claw on top of my shoe, stay there for about 2 seconds, and then bolt off. They don't care. They'll just walk all
Oh,
over
yeah.
you. Yeah, they'll just walk off.
I've seen them race in subway track.
Yep.
I've seen them. Let me think. I don't think I've had any crawl on my feet, so nothing as good as that.
I had that a couple times.
That's pretty juicy. I don't think I've had that, but you do see them aplenty.
Oh yeah.
You do.
Oh yeah. You do see
Yes, you
that.
do.
You do. He is Casey Viera. If you need all things outside of the Spurs, or including the Spurs, from Cowboys to local sports, whatnot. I think the Brahmas are having their draft recently, so you want to go to Casey Viera on Ken's 5 TV. Once in a while, you'll see me join him. Pretty sure that might ratchet up as the season gets closer. But again, make sure to follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Hey, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever we get podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow. Jack Thompson is joining us. We're going to be wrapping up this week here at Locked On Spurs with some more silver and black talk. So summer Spurs are still in action, so we'll have plenty to discuss to wrap up the week. Check out Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel, only on Locked On Network's YouTube page. Go there right now. And subscribe to Locked On Spurs, Ken's 5 Plus app, iTunes, Spotify, the list goes on and on. So for Casey Viera, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.